Hey, welcome to the Newbie Bounty Hunter stream again. I am the Gentleman Gamer, and we are going to be doing a bit more bounty hunting around a system that I have just landed in with a brand new ship. I've been running around with an Eagle, but I just got enough credits to go ahead and upgrade. Also, my Eagle got blown up, so I thought now might be a good time to go ahead and change, and as you can see, I am now in a brand shiny new Viper that I have just gotten outfitted. Let's see if we can take a look at some of the specs, if this place has got a shipyard that sells one. So normally you start in a Sidewinder. The Viper here, Viper Mark III, is a pretty good bounty hunting upgrade. The Eagle is a quick, light, and cheap upgrade out of the Viper, so or out of the Sidewinder, so if you really want to, just get into something new quick, I actually recommend the Eagle a lot because it's super, super fast. It feels like you're running around on a crotch rocket, which is really nice. The Viper is more like a muscle car, which you'll get whenever we launch here in a second. It's got a really, really strong engine behind it, and it has a lot more hard points to be able to do stuff. Like before, my Eagle was doing 3 small hard points, 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. Now I have 2 hard points down and 2 medium hard points. 2 medium hard points I think are on the bottom, and the 2 small hard points are on top. So that gives me a lot more to work with. 2 utility mounts, as well as some more internal compartments to be able to store stuff on it. So this is what I actually have as far as a loadout goes. On my medium hard points, I've installed 2 multi-cannons, which I've put on gimbaled mounts, because, especially if you're going to use a projectile weapon like this, I think gimbaled mounts are just absolutely the way to go, unless you are doing something like a railgun. Fixed mounts up top are going to be the pulse lasers. Those are going to chew through shields, and then once the shields are down, I will rip up the hull with the multi-cannons. And this has been working out extremely well for me in the bounty hunting that I've been doing. We got a wake scanner in case we decide to go chase down people and they decide to make a jump on us. We can track their wake to another system. But I'm really thinking I might get rid of that because of the hunting that I've been doing. I haven't really needed that as much as I thought I would. Kill warrant scanner still remains the way to maximize your profits, because even if there's, a few hundred or so bounty, from another system, you can still collect that, and then after a long time of hunting, you eventually can get enough of a bounty to be able to go out to another system, like an Imperial system or an Alliance system, someplace that you're not at. And beyond that, I haven't really done much else to the core to it. I upped the power plant so that I could afford to put everything on there. I did buy a fuel scoop, and I went ahead and got a really, really good fuel scoop because I have wanted to try maybe doing some longer distance jumping. And then after I got the Viper, I started reading up on that, and apparently it's not the best ship because of its mass and because of, various other things to do long-range exploration with. So getting out of your core starter systems is probably not going to happen in this ship, at least not until you get a ton of money and maybe consider dumping it on a much better frame shift drive. Kept the Discovery scanner because I was flying around after I bought this a lot of different systems, and I just wanted to kind of collect some of the data. Although now I have a bunch of data that I may not ever wind up selling because I'm making so much money bounty hunting. And delivery, I've got a couple of extras that I just decided to throw on there for no good reason. If you want more paint jobs and things like that, you can buy them online from the Frontier Development Store. So far, though, I'm just happy with what I've got. So let's take this out, and I'm going to show you, first off, the system that I'm hunting in. Waller Terminal is where I'm currently at in the Cremain system. And if you look on the galaxy map, Cremain is a refinery and industrial system, which is kind of in the same area as some of the systems that you start off in. Like it's near Erevet, which I think is very near some of the starter systems. I was attempting to get outside of this and try moving towards like Lave and some of the other places, but I just don't have enough range to make the jump to these outlying systems. So for now I just decided to kind of make do with what I have. The reason why I decided to settle in Cremain for bounty hunting is because in this system you have resource extraction points around some very, very large gas giants. And not only that, once we get our system map up. So you can see, this has got huge gas giants that have rings around them. And these guys do have resource extraction points, which you can fly into the ring, and if you have a miner, you can actually go in and start mining that stuff out. Resource extraction points are also, from what I've seen, the absolute best way to run into pirates right now. It's just so easy. So right now, Waller Terminal is orbiting one of these giants. There's another outpost way over here, but the big terminal here is what I'm really happy with. And they're a Federation system. So what I do is essentially go to these resource extraction points, of which there are many, and just hunt there for as long as I want to. I just go kill, 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 and then when I'm done, just come back to the terminal, dump all the bounties, and make a ton of money. I mean, I had sold myself down. I'm at 131,000 credits. Picking up the ship and doing everything else, I'd sold myself down to about 40,000 credits again. So I've basically turned over like 150,000 credits 2 or 3 times over in the last couple of days. The last bit of that was in the Viper last night, killing in the system, so it really... This is, I think, a really good place to stay for now as I build up my credits. As you're trying to figure out ways to make credits as we launch out, there are certainly faster ways to build up a massive fortune. You know, traders are probably the easiest way if you want to build up a ton of credits. Trading is the way to do it, because everything they do is in volume. So, you get a bigger ship, you can haul more stuff, you can haul more expensive stuff.
Ship released. Engines engaged.
You wind up making a lot more money, because, you know, everything scales up. Bounty hunting, it doesn't scale up the same way, because you have to get a ship that's good enough to kill things, you have to find a place
Landing gear retracted.
to kill things at. So it doesn't have, you know, the same kind of rapid scale as a competent trainer or trader can do. But it's fun. The system here. Station. So again,
Frameshift drive
this
charging.
is good to have, like, your hunting location in the same system
4,
as a station that
3,
you can go drop them off.
2, 1, engage.
Game Technician, it's just more fun. It is more fun. It is absolutely more fun. I mean, the whole point we're here is to kind of blow things up. So we're going to do that. So there's the planet. There's a whole bunch of resource extraction sites, so I'm just going to pick one. We're going to jump in here and see if we can find some people. So I have my Wake Scanner and K-Warrant Scanner on one hardpoint setup. And then I have the cannons and the pulse lasers on another setup. The lasers are on my primary trigger, the cannons are on my secondary trigger. And I have just been shredding people with this. So I'm very pleased. There is debate whether or not the Viper or the Cobra is the better upgrade for a ship. The Cobra winds up being, from what I've read, a more all-around ship. You can do just a lot more with it, especially if you want to potentially get into like a multi-purpose ship that can do some bounty hunting, that can do some exploration and some other stuff. Yeah, let me see if I can adjust my audio on that. Alright, guys in the chat saying they're having some trouble with the audio, so hopefully that's going to clean up here in a second. Disengage in the field. Let's go. Cobra costs are are pretty up there. I think a Cobra costs you around 350,000 credits to start with, whereas the Viper is about 140. So you gotta kind of dig around and see if you can find one. Okay, we're in the shadow of the planet here, so this is gonna be pretty fun. So like I said, this is much more of a muscle car than the Eagle's motorcycle. It's got a lot more power to it, it's got a lot better top speed, but it also handles a little more piggishly. We can see some miners are working in the system, as we're just starting to get people show up. It can sometimes take a minute, like any system you just drop into, for people to show up and for stuff to start getting hairy. I have a feeling this is going to get pretty crazy here. So here's our first possible guy. He's flying around with a couple of others. So freaking dark, I have no idea if I'm flying into something or not. So these guys look clean. Honestly, one of the easiest things to do is to just fly around here, wait until someone starts shooting, and then go join the fun. Which can take a few minutes to get set up. Here we go. So let's scan you down. Like I said, much less maneuverable than the Eagle. Alright. Now that we've got all his warrants, let's take him out. He has no shields up. This is probably not going to be worth a lot at all. But I can just rip him apart right now.
Destroyed.
And that should be a combination of all his bounties. So a Sidewinder is not going to be worth a lot because he's, you know, kind of small fry. A Cobra like that could be worth quite a bit. Cobras are going to be one of your main targets. Yeah, upgrading for the multi-cannon I think is one of the best things you can do at this point. There are people who argue that it's better, especially for longer bounty hunting voyages. We got some shooting. That for like longer bounty hunting, you want to just do nothing but lasers because you can achieve the same results and you never have to go reload. So that's a possible argument. Got some feds. Who are we shooting at? Oh, another Skywinder. Maybe not. Here we go. This guy might be worth something. One thing I have not done is I need to adjust getting all of my like lateral and vertical thrusters and potentially putting them on my hat switch, which can really do a lot to improve maneuverability and something like this. Notice that my pulse laser's energy is not going down practically at all.
Under attack. Target shields.
So somebody is attacking us. Eagle has practically no armor at all.
Scan detected. Target destroyed.
200 credits. That's it. Let's get our shields back up. Find out who's shooting at us. Hello, Katie. So you can already see we're picking up quite a bit more people. Honestly, at this stage of bounty hunting, one of the biggest dangers you run into is accidentally hitting a Fed or someone else that's hanging out in here.
Under attack.
Move. I'm gonna accidentally hit that other person.
Target destroyed.
That's respectable. Hopefully pretty soon we'll get some escalation, we'll get some
Scan
actual...
detected.
Yeah, go ahead and scan me, I'm alright. Get some respectable bounties going on. Occasionally you might run into some rarer spawns such as a smuggler or an anaconda, but you want to be really careful with those. See what's going on. Yes, that's what we want. You might be worth a little bit. So as long as I am holding the trigger, it should keep my scan progress, even if I lose sight of him for a moment.
Target shields offline.
When they go into a climb or a dive like that where they've got their big broadside exposed, that's the best time for you to open up those cannons. Especially with gimbal, it's easy to lead them, they have a broad target to hit. Just like that.
Under attack.
Oh yeah,
Target destroyed.
that's nice. Now let's see who else is out here. We got a python. Sometimes you get... I've noticed that there are some random moments when people get wanted with you and they're not... You know... They're not anyone of consequence. They're just random miners or someone. So if you start to run into that and that starts to be a problem, just jump out of the system and go somewhere else. Let's see what Maximilian's going to be. Now I could jump into contacts and see what these bounties are worth as I'm scanning them down.
Target shields offline.
But I'd rather just blow them up and find out that way. So this place is starting to fill up. It's starting to hop. He's dropping cargo, looks like. Definitely looks like he's trying to make a run for it. He ain't.
Target destroyed.
So as you can see, Sidewinders, not worth a whole lot. Other guys, worth quite a bit more. Like this one, hopefully. It's going to be another 20,000 credit. Just got to get in range. Little closer. And as soon as I start scanning this, it's considered an aggressive action, but not an illegal one.
Target shields offline.
So a lot of times people will just start shooting at you, possibly. Someone's done the hard work for me.
Under attack.
Yeah, someone else is trying to get on us too. Ugh! They freaking ran into me. Really?
Target shields online. Target shields offline.
Bye-bye.
Target
18,000
destroyed.
is nice.
Target shields offline.
Alright, I'm not even going to scan this guy down. Run out of time. Just going to open up.
Attack.
Let's look at that last hit in.
Target destroyed.
Look at this shit again. Hopefully it's not the person that ran into me. Really?
Under attack.
Well, you're an AI. You're probably a bounty hunter. Fail. What are you worth? Nope. He's an NPC. So he's probably mad that I stole his kill. Well, too bad. And the feds are starting to get mad at me, so
Under attack.
looks like it's time to leave. Yeah, I gotta get away from the build. As soon as we get no longer mass locked, I'll probably check everything.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
So let's not hang up in Super Cruise. There we go. So let's check how we did so far. 75,000 in bounties in the Federation and 7,000 bounties in the Empire. And that's just after that little bit of work. We flip back around, go back in, or potentially go to another resource site, so we can just do the whole thing over again. But I want to know how my cannons are doing. Let's check those. I think I still got plenty. So let's find another resource point. I think that's the one we just left. Whoa! So I ran into the ring. I physically ran into the ring. Which is fine. We got some folks.
Frameshift charge detected. Frameshift charge detected.
Looks like these guys are all trying to leave. Interesting. So yeah, I just apparently slammed into the ring, which is a, you know, game space. It's a physical point, so as soon as my frameshift drive stops, I can jump back out.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
So my goal today is to try to get another 150,000, 200,000 credits and bounties before I call it a day. So let's point back at this site. Jump back in. So if I can hit that same target that I just did, 75,000, that's essentially going to double the amount of credits that I have in my hold, which is very helpful. You know what? Let's actually go a little further out. Let's head out here. Get out of this planet's shadow. So, double checking the chat. The challenges from the wanted pilots. Have any wanted pilots really given me a challenge? It all depends on, now that I'm learning it, it depends a lot on the scale. Okay, yeah, I'm stuck in this ring, so I'm really going to leave myself out of here. It depends a lot on, you know, the ship type first, followed by whether or not the rating underneath it is harmless or deadly or elite or master or whatever. So a deadly Sidewinder is not going to give me much trouble in this Viper at all. Whereas a harmless Anaconda is still going to eat my lunch. Going to give me much trouble in this Viper at all. So really it just depends on understanding, you know, the different ship types and
Frameshift drive charging.
then being able to apply that information elsewhere.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
I will say that now that I'm in a Viper, other bounty hunters that I've been reading have said that you stand a much better chance at being able to take out Anacondas, which are the really, really, really dangerous and the really lucrative bounties. They're kind of like the big elite bosses that show up. So we're going to fly out of range of this ring that I keep running into. And hopefully be able to hit someplace a little sunnier. But yeah, total credit output to get this Viper just started was probably right at around, I would say, 200,000, 250,000. That's getting the lasers, like the pulse lasers came with the Viper. And then I bought the gimbaled cannons. And then I bought the fuel scoop and a couple of other things. So all told, I probably spent around 200, 250,000 as a start. And I think what I'm going to do is scale up from here and just continue to upgrade the Viper as I can. One thing I'm concerned with is not being able to get a ton of really good upgrades in this system, or really in the nearby area. But we'll see. I'm hopeful that sooner or later I can upgrade the frameshift drive and I can jump far enough that I can actually, you know, get into a high-tech system, which is the place that has the best upgrades. Because there are no high-tech industries that I've been able to find in this area. That impact warning is a lot more concerning to me now that I know that I can physically just face plant on one of these rings. So let's see who's home here. There's the ring below. And really, these are some pretty gorgeous sights. I kind of enjoy finding rings and being able to just, you know, fly around in them. Even if it becomes very, very dangerous very quickly. So, I spend a lot of time reading the Elite Dangerous section of Reddit, and there are quite a few people that are talking about, you know, hitting 6 million, 7 million, hitting credits super, super quickly. Most of that, I believe, is done through trading, and I think a lot of that is done through rare trading. And there's just no way to get to rares in this system. So if you want to be able to make credits fast, super fast, then being a trader and buying a ship that's able to take you, you know, on long distance jumps so that you can get out of the starter areas is your first goal. I think the Cobra is able to do some of that. Yeah, you're clean. Whereas, like a Viper is not. You know, it's a muscle car. You don't want to take it on a long distance road trip. No matter what you see on Supernatural.
Scan detected.
Hello. Mark Thompson wants to see what I've got in my hold. Well, Mark Thompson, you must be a pirate. A Master Cobra. You are going to bite off a little more than you can chew, my friend. Get him away from these miners and out of these asteroids. See if we can boil them up. That's right. So yeah, you can see he's launching missiles. He has a lot more dangerous type weaponry than some of these Sidewinders do. If I can get his shields knocked down, he usually panics. And now I'm being attacked like that again.
Target shields offline.
Which is interesting. I wonder if it's the factions that I'm aligned with. that Cobra's got a little bit of a maneuverability edge on me. I'm going to try to outfly him. A little bit more.
Target shields online. Scan detected.
So I've got another pirate scanning me. Laurent Corrin. I'll deal with you later. So his shield is regenerating quite quickly. This is where, like, vertical thrusters, turning off flight assist, this is where it's going to be very helpful to you, is dealing with someone like this. But I'm just not that good a pilot yet. Come on. This is where fixed lasers are also a liability. I've transferred a lot more energy to my shields to deal with all these extras that are attacking me. I don't need as much of my weapons because he's not in front of me as much as he needs to be.
Target shields.
Let's end this. This guy's better be worth a lot. He is causing me a ton of grief. I'm reversing a lot
Online.
just to throw the brakes on there and see if I can get him out of the spiral.
Target shields offline.
And because my guns are at the bottom, keeping him in the lower part of my vision is actually pretty helpful. Almost.
Target destroyed.
Really? That's it. Alright, I need to figure out why I'm being shot at. Because it looks like everybody in this system that is Federation aligned is shooting at me. Which is a problem. Because if I shoot back, it's going to be assault. Oh, that's why. So we got an Anaconda in the system. pretty sure it's a Fed. Yeah, it's a Fed. And I don't know why. Why do you care about me?
Under attack.
Alright. Time to get out of here. So this is a problem that I've been running into. Sometimes these guys just start shooting at me, and I don't know why, because I'm killing nothing but pirates. My factions are fine. It could be the fact that there's a civil war going on, and so members of these corporations might be attacking me because of my influence with someone else.
Cannot comply. Frameshift drive charging.
So we're gonna go turn in some bounties. While trying to dodge fire. Because if I were to spin around, there would be a whole bunch of feds just right behind me.
Ready to engage.
Here we go.
2, 1. Engage.
So that was dangerous, but profitable a little bit. Let's go back, land, turn in our bounties, resupply, and then maybe that will clean things up a little bit. So yeah, within the system, my reputation is still neutral. Cremain Fee and Cremain Core, still neutral. So because there's a civil war going on, it's very likely that I'm picking up some problems with that as a result of that civil war. Yeah, I'm not carrying anything dangerous, so maybe landing the terminal will be able to reset that. Maybe. Looks like you're going to overshoot it. One thing I have definitely decided is that I am not going to attempt to smuggle with this Viper, just because it's too big and picky. It's not not maneuverable at all as compared to the Eagle. So being able to, you know, line up and zip inside is probably not something I'm going to be able to do as easily. There it is.
Docking request granted.
Even though smuggling has helped me get my docking requests down very quickly. 44.
Landing gear deployed.
Oop, missed the mark.
Docking successful.
There we go.
Engines disengaged.
So we're going to get in, we're going to repair. Hopefully we're going to... This will reset whatever problems we're dealing with the Federals out there. $86,000. Nothing to sneeze at. Puts us back over 200,000 credits. But we still have probably around 7,000, 10,000 credits outstanding. So that's a bug. It hasn't cleaned off of my thing yet, but it's going to. So we have 7.4 thousand credit bounty in Empire. And you might get this and think, well, how close is the nearest Empire system? There it goes. Which is another thing that can come up when you're trying to decide where, as a bounty hunter, do I want to set up. So if you go to your galactic view, and you go to view, right now I have this set up to show everyone by economy. So because this is this green, I know that it's a refinery. But you can, double check by turning them on and off. So there's a whole bunch of refinery, and the reds are extractions. That's what most of the systems around here are doing. A high-tech system, this lighter green, there are several of those all the way over here, but those are just outside of my jump range. I can't make that jump at all without a better engine or a different ship that can go longer. Now if you want to look at Allegiance, you can see Imperial, Independent, Federation, Alliance. So Empire is red. But if I scan around, all I've got are greens and blues. I know that there is one single... Here it is. Liaden. That's the only Empire system that's in this entire area. Once a disputed system, this populous world became part of the Empire after the warming relations between Empire and Federation, also known as Delta Aquila. So, they switch sides, but there's literally nothing else in this area. If I wanted to turn in Imperial bounties, this is my closest bet to do so, and it's just way the heck too far out of my range. An ideal setup for a bounty hunter, as far as allegiances go, would be if you could find a system, kind of like mine, where you have a station and you have some resource extraction points. But if you can find it that's near, basically, border worlds between two different factions. See, with a whole bunch of independents, each of them have their own little individual governments, so they're not necessarily going to be giving me, tons and tons of bounties. Whereas the big ones, the Alliance and the Empire, they're all just completely out of this area. Like, you gotta scan way down before you start seeing... Like, these are all border worlds between the Empire and the Federation. These blues and reds. And that's way the heck out of the way from where we were currently at. Up here. So trying to jump all the way down there just isn't going to happen in this Viper. So right now, I'm just going to set up in a system that is in Federation space and that can give me what I want. And hopefully, after a long enough period of time, I'll build up a whole ton of bounties that I can then take somewhere else once I've made a few more upgrades, like, all the way over here to Liadrin. There you are. and I can just drop those off. Because otherwise, if I ever get blown up, I lose them all. But you know, it's not like I'm really able to get out there as it is. And it looks like those bounties have actually made me friendly with this station. So let me check. So Cremain Corps and Cremain First. They're currently engaged in civil war. So I'm willing to bet that the federal ships that were shooting me were part of these guys. Whereas Cremain Free, I am actually doing pretty well with. So anyway, that's a quick look at where I'm at. Those are the fields I'm going to be hunting at for quite a while, and that's the setup I've got with my Viper going on. If you want to get into bounty hunting quickly, then I would personally suggest going the route of getting an Eagle, hunting down, getting, you know, around 200,000 credits or so, and then making the jump to a Viper. If you want, you can save, you know, if you're making money very quickly, you can potentially save even further and get to a Cobra, but I haven't had enough experience with it to be able to say for sure. It's just the Cobra might be able to be, you know, pushed in a different direction if bounty hunting isn't exactly what you want to go into. So that's going to do it for today's stream. I want to thank you all for coming, and say safe flying.